The Owl House story is moving faster than ever, with Luce already visiting the library and getting a concrete start to her search for answers on how to get home. But who exactly was the man who wrote this journal and traveled to the Boiling Isles? And is it possible that he is none other than Emperor Belos himself, or perhaps even Belos' father? My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and today we are going to be talking about everything you missed in this week's episode of The Owl House, Through the Looking Glass Ruins. As of now, the timeline in The Owl House is a bit fuzzy, but as I said before, I think it is possible that Belos himself may be Philip Wittebane, this first known traveler from the human world. Something about Emperor Belos' identity is supposed to come as a bit of a surprise to us, otherwise they wouldn't be going through such great lengths to cover his face. While they may reveal another character's face at some point and then remove Belos' mask to reveal that he shares the same face as that witch or demon, it is entirely possible that instead he will remove his mask and we will see that he doesn't have the distinctive pointy ears that are common of the witches on the Boiling Isles. Now, the diary of Philip Wittebane was donated around the time in which he lived, which was the 1600s, known as the Deadwardian area in the Boiling Isles. While we don't know what the current year is, at least as far as I've been able to research it, references to the past, similar dating systems from Amity's diary, and other pop culture indications seem to say that the Owl House is on a similar calendar system as the human world. This seems further proven by the style of clothing that Philip seemed to wear, though probably not entirely accurate. This would mean that Philip's journey through the Boiling Isles started more or less 400 years ago, give or take, about 350 years before the Emperor would ascend to the throne and end the Savage Age, which, according to Kikimora, in the penultimate episode of Season 1, was just over 50 years ago. Part of the reason I have strong feelings about Belos being revealed to be Philip is that we don't actually know why Belos is trying to get access to the human realm. He indicates that it is not for the simple and obvious villainous purpose of taking it over, and while I'm sure he isn't simply trying to return to the human realm to be home, his interest in the realm seems to indicate that he is from there or knows something about it that the other witches and demons do not. Theories that he might be a human date all the way back to the first episode, where Ida reveals that in the Emperor's prison, there is a special magical barrier that only humans can cross through. Why make an exception for humans unless the Emperor himself would have something to gain from it? Something only he can enter and even his most trusted witches and demons could not. According to Gwendolyn, the power to travel between dimensions is something that seemingly originates from the Titan's blood, which seems to be infused with the most powerful aspects of the Titan's magic. This blood allows things to slip through the dimensions, explaining how other magical things have slipped into the human realm from the Boiling Isles over the centuries. In Wittebane's journal, we can see that he wants to explore the world of the Boiling Isles, and likely came across things that the natural-born witches and demons never took the time to explore, instead placating themselves with the savage magic that was supposedly causing a lot of problems on the Isles. My theory is that Philip tried immersing himself in the Titan's blood with the hope that it would bring him back to his world, and instead ended up infusing himself with his essence. I don't think this turned into a witch or a demon, but gave him some sort of magical insight and power that helped him begin to reshape the Boiling Isles the way he wants, perhaps actually giving him the power to communicate with the Titan, as the other witches like Willow seem to actually believe. Belos does not seem to be in a very healthy state, and we know that the magic essence of talismans seems to be how he keeps himself alive and focused, indicating that he is much older than he appears, and he appears to be pretty old already. It would not surprise me to learn that by limiting the magic of other witches, he's able to have more for himself to stay alive. That being said, the voice of Philip and Belos are pretty different, and they come from two different voice actors. While what we see from the creepy mouse that ate Philip's book may be 100% accurate, it may also simply be an interpretation of its text, one that is not entirely accurate, and the different voice may just be because the mouse doesn't actually know what the real Philip's voice sounded like. But if we are to assume that it is 100% accurate, despite being a silhouette, this would mean that Belos and Philip are not the same person, but that does not mean they are not related. The story wouldn't be all that much different here, but instead of it being Emperor Belos, we might learn that Philip is none other than the Emperor's father. I'm going to break that down. But really quick, I just want to remind you guys of our Owl House inspired merch at the Cartoon Universe shop. We've got all of your favorite glyphs, even available on shirts, sweatshirts, you name it.
Plus, we even have our popular Witches Before Wizards shirt. I'll put a link in a pinned comment down below, go check it out, and now, back to the theory. The story of the Owl House is built so far around Luz being on the Boiling Isles and leaving her mom behind in the human realm. Now that she doesn't have immediate access to the human realm, Luz's life goal is to find a way to get home and be with her mother. This season, we have met a new character, the Golden Guard, who has set up a new dynamic at the Emperor's Coven, one that serves both as a parallel and an inversion of Luz's dynamic with Ida, with the Golden Guard being a protege to the Emperor. To further invert Luz's dynamic with Ida, it could be that Belos is trying to get to the human realm to be reunited with his father, Philip Wittebane. This assumes that Philip also got a hit of the immortality that Belos is running off of, though with how much time has passed, it may be less about being reunited and more about claiming something his father may have promised was waiting for him in the human world. Many theories exist that say Luz's father may be the Emperor, but the timeline as we see it, with the portal belonging to Ida for at least 40 years, indicates that this isn't the case, as the Emperor would have no way to get to the human world or to get back. But if Philip did manage to make it back and continue his line for the next 400 years, it is possible that Luz may be descended from him in some way, giving her and the Emperor an eventual connection for the audience to unravel, assuming that Belos turns out to also be descended from Philip in this scenario. We don't know the origins of Philip Wittebane, but between his name, accent, and Christian symbolism, as well as his clothes, he seems to either be an early American settler or a traveler from Western Europe. Luz herself is Dominican, but as of now, we don't know who her father is, where he went, or really anything about him. We do, however, see that Luz is of a much lighter complexion than her mother, as well as having lighter hair. While this isn't uncommon even with parents of the same race, as all races have lighter and darker variations of their typical skin tone, it could also be indicative that Luz's father was not Dominican himself, which of course opens up the possibility that Philip, through some time travel or immortality magic, may have ended up being Luz's father. It is also possible that his human descendants from within the human world simply went on for 400 years until one of them just so happened to meet Luz's mother, inevitably leading to her birth. All of these things are just theories, however, and while I think they are interesting theories, The Owl House is the kind of show that hands you a small piece of the puzzle each week, with that piece rarely ever filling in the gaps between existing lore, and instead opening up the story even more, often invalidating past theories and twisting the knowledge we have into a new direction. And I would not be surprised if that is the case here. We only got a small glimpse of Philip Wittebane and his journey, and while these puzzle pieces fit really well so far, next week could give us some entirely new information. That's all I have for you guys today, but leave a comment down below telling me what you guys think is going to happen next, and if we like it, we'll make a video about it. See you next time!